I was wondering if you could rewrite the finale, what would you change and what would you do?
I mean, there's a lot of different ways that I think this show could have wrapped up. I had ideas. I had dreams about how the show would end. But I
Do you all know Jensen's dream?
Yeah.
How many know the dream? Oh, just a handful. You want to tell it? It's kind of great.
You want to hear me tell that dream?
Yes.
I had a very, for those that don't know, I had a very, very vivid dream, almost like a waking dream, years ago. And it essentially was, there was no words, it was just this music. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie Man on Fire with Denzel Washington, but the score to that, the soundtrack, there's this beautifully written score by an American composer, actually, I'm blanking on his name. That was playing in my head while I was envisioning this vision that I had, and it was like the flyover of like just expansive farmlands as far as the eye can see. And there's just a long, long road going north and south, meeting a very, very long road going east and west. And Dean, sitting outside the Impala, parked in the intersection, nobody around, just desolate, every which way you look. And Dean's sitting there, and I get up and I look way down the road, and I can see in the distance something moving towards me. And kind of like, did you see Lawrence of Arabia? When Omar Sharif is riding up
The
on
horse,
the camel,
yeah.
on the
The
camel. It's kind of like that. And then as it gets closer, we realize it's a person on a motorcycle. And the person on a motorcycle comes all the way to the crossroads, to the intersection. And he gets off the bike. We never see a face because they've got a helmet on. And Dean kind of looks at nods at the motorcycle rider as he parks the bike and just sits there. And then Dean walks around the Impala, kind of like putting his hand on it like this, and makes a complete circle around the Impala, and then pulls the keys out of his pocket and hands it to the motorcycle rider. And the motorcycle rider, you never see his face, takes off the helmet and hands the helmet to Dean. And then cut to the Impala driving away. And Dean standing there holding a motorcycle helmet next to a motorcycle. And then he gets on the motorcycle and he drives in the opposite direction because he doesn't need a passenger seat anymore. And that was it. And so I always thought, I was like, and I've had that dream, and it was very vivid, and it rocked me. It was so vivid that I can still tell the story to this day as though it happened. And it was because Sam had died, and Dean was trying to move on with his life in the best way he knew how, but he couldn't drive that car anymore because it just reminded him of his brother.
I remember when you told that story when we were doing an interview. It was you, me, and Jared, and we were doing this long interview, and you told that story, and both Jared and I teared up when you told the story because it becomes so real for all of us, you know? I had a similar experience just now working on Gotham Knights in the very beginning of the season.
Woo!
I had this dream that was so vivid, and I called the producers, which is a weird thing to do, but I was like, guys, this just feels like you start to spend enough time with the character and thinking about it enough, it affects your dreams. And I called them and I was like, I think I know how Harvey Dent has to become Two-Face at the end of the season. And I told them what happened in my dream, and they were like, yes. And that's what they ended up writing. It was like that became, yeah. But it was the same thing. Like when you told that dream, we hadn't yet shot the end of the show, and we were like, yes,
That's it.
that has to be it. So I would say I would like to see that ending.
I will say that there was a scene in the pilot of the Winchesters that was largely shot in the way that I saw that dream, and it was when we see Dean in the pilot of the Winchesters. There was that long road with nothing but just farmland on either side. That was kind of what I was envisioning for that dream, and that we did that a little bit as a tip to that. So yeah, that was cool.
Thank you.
But if I could change the pilot, I would probably just have hung a pillow on the piece of rebar.